Well, on the way setting up this camp, because this is a little bit after, Eravan dipped me into a kiss, and so we're still a little bussy from that, you know, and I don't know. I don't imagine that Keyanthi would know exactly what to do in a situation like that, but she's probably just like kind of like hanging next to Eravan as much as she can. 'Cause she's like, I don't know what else to say, but that was nice. I'm gonna stay here. Um, so and plus she has that point of exhaustion, so I don't expect her to be like reaching out and like helping out. She's probably just gonna be like taking the deep breath, doing maybe like a bit of her meditation, the little movements there. Probably doing that.
Taking a
But
break.
yeah, and then she'll probably does it for like a little bit to kind of like continue to calm her nerves, but she's exhausted, So I think as soon as she's able and willing, she will lay down in her neatly laid out bedroll that's like perpendicular perfectly to the fire and trees and everywhere, because gotta stay organized. And she's going to just lay down and close her eyes and maybe just be like say goodnight, especially to Eravan just before. Probably just not, just kind of be like a shoulder squeeze and just go,
Yeah, he'll lean right into that shoulder squeeze and look at you and smile and then go, so that was nice. I mean, I liked that. Does that mean we're like a thing? Are we not a thing? Should we talk about this?
Okay, so with the little rambling he's doing, Keyanthe's just gonna kiss him on the cheek. I'm going to bed. We'll talk later. Good night.
Yeah, we can talk about this later.
Settled.
Yeah, and so then next, what happens is he goes away and gives you a little wave and lets you rest, and as you trance, your mind slips into a meditative space, and you enter a vision with the painting room. You see the long room with all the portraits, finely crafted to everyone's likeness, faces you have not seen in years but know. Thranien and Samira's portraits are next to each other. They sit next to a lantern with a flickering light. The sound of feathers flutters behind you, and you see Breotreacht in her humanoid form, but less human and more alien than before. Her face is narrower and more aquiline. Her arms are slightly longer than an elf or human woman's, long nails and a gaunt feature. Her form is wreathed in a shadowy, coiling darkness similar to a robe. It clings to her, and it seems to bend the reality around the immediate space. Your ability to see truth is expanding. Your world reality is growing. Before, you only wanted to see beautiful things. Now, you want to see more.
Well, Keyanthi, as soon as she sees Breotreacht, she's gonna do her usual, her bow.
Mm-hmm. Yes, of course.
It's honorable.
Yeah.
All the stuff. I imagine, because Keyanthi was able to see Breotreact's physical form back when she was, nailed to the trees back along the way before. So she's not, too startled with the shift in her view of what she looks like, because she's seen the actual form of Breotreacht, right?
Yes, she has.
Yeah, exactly. So she's just kind of is humble. And hearing what Breotreacht has said about how the ability to perceive truth has been growing, she just kind of lowers her head and nods. There's a lot that I've been avoiding. And she kind of looks at her hands that used to be all gloved up and white and now have the markings of Breotreacht on them. But it's about time my eyes match my hands, I suppose.
This is your mind. It is trying to tell you something. She swishes, and her shadowy robes as she steps aside. She had been blocking a pale yellow light. It washes over you, and it's too bright at first to... So you look down at your feet and notice that the shadow isn't normal. You rotate around and see that your shadow is being pulled apart in two directions. One leads to the bust of your grandfather, Eorthander, and the other leads to a small statue of Tarina. You haven't forgiven yourself of the tragedy of Tarina, have you?
I'm aware that, really, in the end, it wasn't my fault. And, well, I wouldn't say that I haven't forgiven myself for her death. I feel as though I've been able to manage exactly how I feel, but maybe I don't forgive myself for not being able to forgive myself. I feel like I should be stronger, more focused, more, and never enough. And I feel, well, I don't know how to feel. But I'm glad that Tarina has found and chosen peace versus everything that she's been up against so far.
Does that mean that you've lost your desire to call her back from the cauldron?
She had the choice to stay. She chose to go.
Tarina perished under my sphere of influence, and therefore her soul was forfeit. I merely let her linger because of her delightful sense of wrath. When her father was slain, the bargain we struck was fulfilled, and I collected. She can come back.
How?
Do you doubt my ability to call forth my own souls? They rest in my cauldron, child.
No, it's not that. She bows again, because obviously she kind of misspoke there. It's not that I doubt your abilities, I doubt the possibilities. As you said, I don't perceive as much truth as I should. So I suppose if Tarina wants that, that's what I want. I don't want to push more of my will onto someone who's unwilling. That's more my grandfather's style.
Even as a wrathful spirit, her sole desire was to return and be with her brothers. I don't see her turning away the chance to come back.
Truly. But I also know I need more strength to do that.
Well, given time, you may learn to channel my powers more efficiently. You will have to learn to do so anyway if you wish to wield the Sword of Ages. It is from an ancient time and is hard on the mind. As you are currently, you are not ready, and therefore will need to undergo training or, what do you call it? A pilgrimage of sorts. You'll go to my temples and worship there. And in the meantime, the stewardship of the sword will be passed to another.
At that, Keyanthi just kind of chuckles and laughs. Isn't that how I started all this? How fitting.
You're just looking in the wrong places, child. Not all truths are for you.
I suppose the whole of my life will be a pilgrimage reaching to a higher truth. Chasing the light rather than living in the shade.
Well, you now have a full shadow with you. This will require you to go separately, away from your friends. I know you have grown fond of them, but this is a path you must walk singularly.
You mean just by their company? Because from what I know of my friends, even when we lose someone, they tend to stick around. Even just in memory.
Yes, your bonds do connect you rather strongly. I'm sure you will find your way back to each other eventually. But hold on to these bonds. They will probably be your salvation, if the fates have any opinion on that. You will face great challenges together. Even apart. Even though you are apart, you will grow. As for now, go north. No, east. Go east.
East. Go east.
Not west, east.
East, yes, not yeast.
What a twist!
What a twist!
Okay, we'll stop.
All right, we're done. Shh, back to
No. And with that, her voice fades, and the room begins to darken, and her shadowy form starts to just meld back into the walls as the feathers of her long wings flutter away in a shh. And you are left with your own thoughts in your deep trance. So, here you are.
A deep breath that kind of shakes everything, like, her expiration.
Or it's like that little
throws her exasperation. Okay.
It's like an eyebrow waggle, but like with your shoulder, like.
And you hear footsteps come up to you. And I feel like at this point you'd recognize, like, kind of Eravan's presence or gait. And we'll have him come over, and then, I guess he'll just, like, show up and pace a little bit, and then, like, turn and leave.
He should be, like, kind of looking over me and tucking hair behind my ear before leaving. Do that.
Okay, sure, yeah. He comes over, and then you feel just...
Oh, yeah.
He comes over and just gently wisps away the loose strands of your hair. And, yeah, and there's just little whispers. Eravan tucks you in. He says, I hope you found the help that you wanted, Keyanthi.
And I suppose the person who's best to help would be the goddess of those who've lived beyond.
And Breotreact's voice comes back. Well, I suppose I could abide by your little boy toy coming too.
True. Well, as much as I am loath to call him my boy toy, if that's what he wants to do, then it can be done. I don't want to push my will on others, but I also need to accept the will of others. I can't keep thinking that I'm going to curse someone else with... Well, perhaps I will. How are you feeling? You feel like cursing anyone lately?
Well, someone here or there. Whoever deserves it, really. My other clerics are typically chasing up their dogmas and cultural ideals, which don't interest me or concern me. The Drow can make up whatever theology they want.
I'm not surprised.
But those who incur my wrath, well, I will make use of my clerics then.
Goth mom is party mom.
I doubt you would ever truly leave me. And she bows again.
Oh, no, child. I've put far too much effort into your preparation.
No.
Besides, there's There's like a little pause.
Okay.
She says, I suppose it is nice to have your little antics amuse me. And she goes fully. Next is Ciara.
She sets up. She writes for a little while because she likes to unpack everything that happens in her little journal that she keeps. And when she's done, as she's about to close it, she kind of like remembers a little earlier how like Cian was kind of bummed that his little
plushie.
That his little thing, his little wolf thing disappeared with the house.
Oh, yeah, he's a kid. He's sulking.
And she kind of looks around quietly. And kind of rifles through her things and goes to enlist one of the little guys. Which one is the craftiest little guy?
Rashid.
Rashid?
Mm-hmm.
Alright, cool.
Yeah, Rashid's the crafty kid. He's over on like the left side of the camp with Jinta, and they're making like probably like little flower crowns and grass braids, and you can see Jinta like braiding his hair as she braids her hair, and they make little like flower necklaces. And Rashid probably figured out like how to take grasses and like weave them together into like little baskets. So they're just having like their own little like craft corner and making things with it. And probably, like, integrating it into, like, Targi's branches and making little necklaces.
She probably enlisted Jinta, too, because there is some, like, amount of, like, braiding and prettiness to it. So it's like, have a little wolf pup, but maybe, like, braid in some flowers and pretty things onto it. So she kind of, like, if they're not too tired, she would like to enlist them into the potential crafting of a stuffed wolf.
I'm sure the kids would be interested in that, you know. Jinta immediately is like, oh yeah, that sounds like fun. We could make a little puppy and we could do all these things, you know, we could give it a little collar. And then Rashid looks around and is like, well, what's the material? What? He gestures around am I gonna have to make like a cloth out of grass? Like, is that what we need to do? You know?
Let's see. From my bag, I don't mind sacrificing some of the things that I have. All right, adventurer pack. Let me go ahead and look that up. Or dungeon pack.
Yeah, you should have like a dungeoneer's pack or an explorer's pack, and I know the different things in them. But like, if you look around, I'm sure like some kid is gonna have extra material, you know.
Oh, that's a really nice scarf you have there. Can we have a piece of it?
Yeah.
So the kids are having an arts and crafts project. It's really cute. You know, for the children. It's fun. Really harping the for the children thing.
Yeah, we'll say like across the board, like you managed to get enough material to sort of like scrounge something together for like this little wolf pup. I mean, it's probably gonna be like an obscure color, like, you know, pink or red or something. So, or, you know, a kind of a motley sort of grouping of patches.
Yeah.
But you have enough to do so. So.
Is this performance or?
I would say that this is probably like a finesse sort of thing. I mean, I'm almost leaning towards intelligence because you have to know how to make patterns to be able to make something to sew, but that's too complicated. So we'll just go with sleight of hand or dexterity.
Yeah, otherwise it all turns into like different pieces and then it becomes more of a horror project rather than like a cute one.
Yeah.
Hey, I love holding it. It's falling apart. All right, so I'll go ahead and roll because my sleight of hand and my dexterity are both the same, +2.
Sure, go for it.
It's an 11 +2.
Oh, okay. So, I mean, you can tell that it's a quadruped and it's probably a dog. It's a little lopsided.
Kiara still a little accusingly at Luna, who is sleeping. Like, oh.
Yeah, she rolls over where you see her beautiful tattoo, and then you look at the plushie, and it's got a big, like, fat nose. Yeah, the muzzle is huge, and then the feet also are swollen.
Its paws look more like hooves at this point. It's
yes.
a little rounded. Cannot.
Yeah. Yeah, and then Rashid looks at it and he's like, that doesn't look right. I think there's too much fluff in the muzzle, and then the feet are... So he pulls that out, and then he looks at it again, and he's like, you know, there's something else wrong, you know, and like, they're looking over like the feet, and they look like almost swollen at this point.
Well, now I see it.
Yeah, you know, they sort of squint and look at it, and like there's still like one foot that is a little bit longer than the other, so they're kind of debating on whether or not they want to actually fix that. And then they kind of Jinta looks at it and says, well, maybe if we pinch the ears it will look more like a wolf, you know, if we somehow manage to make them more pointed. And so they kind of like play with that and finagle a way to make it sort of work. And at this point, you can give it to Cian. So, do you give it to him?
Yeah, I hand it off to him.
Alright, yeah, Cian's like a little bit of a loner, so he's off to the side, and he has this little like bed of leaves, and he yawns. He goes, hey, what are you doing here?
You look like you're about to go to bed, so I figure you could use a companion since you lost yours at the house.
He's like, is it a dog? And then he turns it over in his hands, and he's looking at it, and he's like, I don't really... Did you make this? Where did it come from?
Yeah, but she sees the gears turn, she's like, oh, Rashid and Jinta helped.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, those two, they could probably pull something like this off. And then he tucks the wolf plushie under his arm, and he probably likes it like way more than he lets on. He tries to act all tough, and he goes,
So, sorry, I went and got, stuck in a mansion, but, did I do okay with the dragon fight? I went and hid like you told me to.
Yeah, she's just like, oh, good work. Now get some sleep. It's just like,
Yep.
well, that is a thing that we did today. Now we're gonna go to bed. Kiara and her like stiff, not sure how
Yep.
connections do. Okay, that's it. Counts to 5, leaves.
the kid also, like, he was not raised by Drow, but he was raised by, like, a band of thieves, so he also does not know how to socialize.
They give each other like a weird little thumbs up, and then they just go away.
Yeah, exactly. He just kind of gives you an awkward thumbs up.
Good work.
Yep. And then he sort of like lowers himself into his little bed and kind of like looks at you and then slowly like turns around. Yeah. So as Drow do, they depart awkwardly. Is there anything that you want Kiara to do before?
She kind of thumbs through the events of what's happened since they've entered the Feywild, and because those are relatively like fond ones, yeah, it's pretty terrifying to have to fight a dragon and then they go into a puzzle house, talk to an owl, and it was as usual, whenever Oculus gets like burnt up in the middle of battle, it's like kind of a bummer, but she's like, it's okay, we'll summon him again when we're awake. And she sort of just, like when she's writing, she sort of thumbs through all the things that she has done, like in the past 24 hours, to sort of make mental notes on things to improve. And the further back her mind ticks, the closer it gets to what happened before she left, because that was a particular stressful time. And she wonders how Lucius is doing, and how she kind of left without telling him anything, and how if he knows that he died, or if anyone knows, or if anything happened while she was away, and how she kind of didn't really say bye because she's really bad at byes. And then she kind of like thumbs back in through mom, and then she's like, oh, I never even told her bye. God, I'm terrible at saying bye to people. And she sort of just like has to halt her thoughts for a moment, so she's just in a little mental like float where she's just like, then she kind of thinks about her conversation with Keyanthi Breotreacht. And she just older than Breotreacht.
Hello, this is Tiffany, your DM. Thank you so much for listening to Dungeon Damsels. We really appreciate all your support. Please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. That really helps us out. And if you're interested, we also have a Patreon, as well as a podcast version of our show. You can find it on Spotify, TuneIn, Podcast, Podbean, and pretty much anywhere where podcasts are. Thank you again so much, and we hope to hear from you soon.